So there's a lot of definitions on the internet what irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, is. They'll say it's a psychosomatic disorder characterized by blah 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 blah. And that's awesome. That is an awesome mental definition, except that doesn't do anything for us, for people who have IBS. So I'm going to offer you a definition that you can understand through feeling, because the thing with healing a lot of chronic illness in the body is through understanding the feeling. So from my perspective, irritable bowel syndrome is basically your emotions which you hold in your stomach, which like kind of go through your stomach, right? You know that saying, oh, I feel sick to my stomach, or you see something that grosses you out, or something that's just disturbing and you just want to throw up, or you just get really nauseous. This is totally our emotional center. And so irritable bowel syndrome is really just your emotions being irritated in the way that they're processed through your body, in the way that you know how to process them, right? So like kind of your stomach is a center where if your emotions and your like thoughts and everything go down smoothly along with the food, it's going to produce a nice regular movement. But if the inside of you is just really like chaotic and resistant and like, oh, like it's just stressed out, it's like tense, right? It's just irritated feelings. It's irritated feelings going through your stomach. That's what it is. That's what irritable bowel syndrome is. It's just a bunch of messy emotions that is irritated in the way that is being processed in your body. That's what it is, simply, is stress. Because if you think about it, right, if you think about stress kind of like if you see like a bear and you're like running, or you're like some person's like chasing you, you get afraid, and when you're stressed out you get in your like fight or flight kind of response, and all the blood and all that energy is in your extremities and you're ready to run, right? So if we are chronically stressed in our lives, like, oh my god, I gotta do this, you're actually, in being in that state, all this blood is just it's rushing away from your center, right? So if we're rested, if we're relaxed and we're rested, the blood, the energy, it's all in the center, and it's going to be digested properly. When you're rested, you're digesting properly. If you're stressed out all the time and you're just overwhelmed all the time, and you don't know how to deal with those emotions and all that, like, it's not going to process. Like, if you're all like this and all this blood and energy is going to your extremities, right, this energy, you're just constantly in this like anxiety mode, obviously your stomach's going to be messed up. Like, that's like the easiest way to explain it, is like you're in a chronic state of anxiety or stress or whatever, and you're just like, oh god, I don't know what to do next. Obviously your stomach is going to be like that. So that's kind of that's my definition of IBS, and I hope that makes sense to you. And really the way to get around that is to unlearn this stressful response that we're always in. We're always just overwhelmed and stressed out. And really that's a learned thing. We learned that because really we grew up in these childhood situations, and we've had these past traumas, there was a lot of hostility. There was anger, and there was fear, and there was stress in the household as a child, right? I mean, just think about your past. Just think about, like, you know, how your parents are and stuff. I mean, that kind of shows up. That kind of shows up. If you lived in a stressful environment, you feel a lot of stress in your environment growing up, that will show up, and that's a learned response, and you've learned to be in this chronic state of anxiety. It's trauma. And it's through some sort of emotional, physical, neglect, verbal, some sort of abuse, or like a way that somehow we weren't supported well growing up. Emotionally and energetically, and we develop these insecurities and this lack of confidence, and just being able to be still, be relaxed, be ourselves. And that's really what it all is. Irritable bowel syndrome, there's nothing really wrong with you. It's not a syndrome where, you know, because when I had it, I thought I was going to get cancer, and I was like freaking out about everything. It can be healed. It can be dealt with. There are ways to do that. And so in the next video, I'm going to share with you some first physical steps you can take to ease what's going on in here, and what worked for me.